Weekend hangover, NFL Week 2. Have an idea now of teams where they're going. The cat just hopped on the table. Trends are here, like Cincinnati being terrible. Green Bay still isn't good. The Panthers are the worst team in football, and the Bills are on a whole nother level. Roll that intro.
To the players, reality is one against one, move and counter move, helmet to helmet. Nowhere is this conflict more evident than at the fringe of battle where the receiver and cornerback match glares. Here, cunning and speed determine the victor. One-on-one, the battle where the loser bleeds alone on an open field.
Week 2 recap. Thursday night, which seems like ages ago, we had a barn burner between the Chiefs and Chargers. It's safe to say the Chiefs aren't missing a beat, and that the AFC West might not be as tough as everyone assumed. The Chargers defense is pretty damn elite, and Khalil Mack is playing at a Hall of Fame level. Derwin James literally suplexed Travis Kelce in this game. It's almost like Mahomes is playing with a chip on his shoulder. It helps when you've banned your brother from your games. This game wasn't as close as the final score. Herbert got hurt and has torn rib cartilage, which isn't something you can just get surgery on. He will be playing hurt all season. Brandon Staley looks even more confused on fourth down now. Now, I don't like Thursday night games when my teams are playing. We always lose. I also don't like the Chiefs right now, but they're winning. Patriots, Steelers was like watching paint dry. Two offenses that couldn't get out of their own way. Mac Jones looked a little bit better this week. There was also a Nelson Aguilar sighting. The team still has no weapons. Pittsburgh fell back down to earth, much like they did last year after Week 1. Word was on Sunday that we'd see Kenny Pickett on Thursday night. Not sure if that is confirmed, but something needs to happen at the quarterback position for Pittsburgh. It's another low-scoring, boomer-loving, cower-power Steelers game. Stop putting them on national games every week. They're missing TJ Watt, and I'm certainly not. Panthers-Giants, don't get me started. Matt Rule is the worst coach in football. This guy, vanilla offense, vanilla defense. I mean, they can't stop anybody on third down to save their life. I can't keep making excuses for Baker Mayfield every week. Dude didn't have any time in the offseason to work with these receivers. This guy needs to be rolled out of the pocket. He's not a pocket passer. McCaffrey hit 100 yards for the first time since pre-Rona. That was nice. What wasn't nice was losing to the Giants, who are now 2-0 after beating two really bad teams. Actually, I'm a little excited for the Monday night game against the Cowboys for the first time ever. It's just nice to see both CMC and Saquon healthy together in the field. Daniel Jones is still utterly useless, but those fans are happy to be 2-0. The Panthers fan base will only be happy if Rule gets fired this Sunday. Only the Browns could blow a 13-point lead to the Joe Flacco-led Jets with under 3 minutes to go in the game. Frankly, it's glorious. Nick Chubb did everything in his power to steamroll the Jets. The Browns defense just didn't show up. There was one play that got stuck in a loop on my illegal stream of this game where Joe Flacco rolled out to his right and he flopped around like a beached whale, then heaved the football deep, didn't even end up close to the receiver. I wish I could find this clip. It's literally the worst thing, but the best thing I've ever seen in an NFL game. Flacco did hit a wide-open wide receiver, much like he did in the playoffs against Denver when they went to the Super Bowl, beating Denzel Ward late in the game, and I was like, well, it doesn't really matter. Nobody recovers an onside kick. Whose shitty luck would prevail between the Browns and the Jets? The Browns didn't recover the onside kick. These are supposed to be gimmies for the receiving team, but those tricky Browns. This loss makes the Panthers look even worse. Zach Wilson should be coming back in the next 2 weeks. Maybe the Jets will wake up. Speaking of waking up, there's no waking up from this nightmare. The Colts are bad. This is what happens when you employ Matt Ryan, Matty Choke, the choke artist, the shutout superlatives, shut out by the Jaguars, and tied the Texans the week before. Is Saxonville back? Jonathan Taylor was nowhere to be found this week. Yes, Michael Pittman was hurt, but God, someone's got to step up for the Colts. T-Law was flawless, the wind glistening through his flowing flocks of golden locks. Dude was on point. Jacksonville played their best football since he's come into the league. One thing that no one's talking about is that Frank Reich was literally under Doug Peterson when they won the Super Bowl for the Eagles. Peterson probably knew how to counter everything that Reich had, but Reich is now on the hot seat at this point. Are the Colts worse than the Panthers? Absolutely not. I looked over to someone this weekend and said, is Baltimore good? Lamar Jackson played like an MVP the first half of this game, as it was a tale of two halves. Miami decided to quit playing, unleashing the beast that is Tua for 6 touchdowns, splitting time between Tyreek and Waddle. Miami's defense seemed to be pretty beast, but then the first half happened, and it didn't look all that great. The game was absolutely insane, with Miami coming from way back to dominate in the end. Is this what Miami's capable of? Clearly. Should the Bills be on notice? Clearly. We find out this week. Boy, talk about a snore of a first half. Then the rest of the match happened that forced a football game to break out. For some reason, Bruce Arians was also on the sidelines for Tampa this week. I don't know. Did he quit? Did he not quit? What is he doing? Newly Adderall-addicted Tom Brady continues to struggle on offense, but he had one great-looking deep throw for a touchdown. It still absolutely baffles me that people pick New Orleans for the Super Bowl. Do you all even watch football? Trash! Jameis, that offense did absolute shit. The Bucs defense remains intact for week 2. The Bucs have also added Cole Beasley this week as Brady continues to run out of receiving options. It's always entertaining to me to see him frustrated and throwing tantrums and throwing shit. It never gets old, but the Bucs still look good. They finally did it. Those crazy son of a bitches finally did it. Detroit, the Lions, Joey, favored to win this past weekend, and they actually came through, albeit avoiding a comeback from Carson Wentz and the Commies. I don't think Ron will ever get the Commies in order, and it's worse because the NFC East seems to be on point early on this season. Jared Goff is looking prestigious, as he is quite the gem in St. Brown. That town desperately needed this victory after losing out on a comeback win to Philly last week. I'm ready for Detroit to beat Green Bay. I cannot wait. It's going to be glorious when it happens. Finally, Sea Chickens Niners. Seattle was brought back to earth, and for some reason, Geno Smith decided to trademark a phrase he said after the Broncos win. Can't write me off, whatever that means. I guess I got to pay him now. This team has no future. They're awful on both sides of the ball. That team was just ready to beat down Russell Wilson last week, and it actually turns out Denver's pretty shitty too. When you lose a starting quarterback, usually panic hits for that team, not for San Francisco. Trey Lance now out for the season, and the team gets back to proven winner, Jimmy Garoppolo. There isn't much to discuss about this game. San Fran's defense demolished Seattle. Deebo Samuel completely went off. They'll probably go to the Super Bowl now after this. You are the chosen one, Atlanta. You set the curse. You were the one to break it. Somehow the Falcons are strangely entertaining early on in this season. Traveling to Los Angeles to play the Rams, I felt they had absolutely no chance. But this season has proven that Vegas ruins the day with gambling and no lead is safe. The Falcons were down 28-3 and started the comeback. It ends with Mariota throwing an interception to surprisingly the overrated Jalen Ramsey, not Hurts. We'll get to him in a minute. To end the game. They can't even break their own curse. They're such a joke of a franchise. I still think they're more of a joke of a franchise than the Panthers, but damn, they're down there shoveling each other. The Rams have to start scratching their heads, however. Stafford is looking like Detroit Stafford, and maybe the lack of OBJ as an option is affecting this. Maybe a lackluster offensive line and a lack of a dedicated running game. My Super Bowl picks really aren't looking good right now. Game of the day. Cardinals Raiders. Maybe not, but it's right there. I assume Kyler Murray played the new Modern Warfare 2 beta this weekend, as they were absolutely terrible in the first half and had no answers on offense for what the Raiders are bringing to the table. Raider fans started popping champagne at the end of the third quarter because for some fucking reason, you do that in week 2 against a team that you're not even rivals with. I don't get it. Collar must have got wind of this because he went off. Ended up running in the final touchdown at the end of regulation like a toddler in Toys R Us. The 2-point conversion was a thing of absolute beauty. Derek Carr is clearly that motherfucker. Well, now they're 0-2. Wasn't expecting this, but hey, you hired Josh McDaniels. Big mistake. You don't run the ball? Carr hones in on Adams? Waller might have had a big day, but ultimately the defense choked this away. These comebacks are getting old, to be honest with you, and we're just in week 2. If it's predicated like a script in WWE, something needs to be done. Get rid of it. It's fuck drama. I mean, seriously. The Texans have been a menace for teams that were predicted to do well early on this season. Davis Mills, the master, assisting to put up 9 points. Hey, Frogers did that in a playoff game. They may lose out, but they have exposed these favored teams early. Denver and Russell Wilson, you know, the guy they paid $250 million for that never played it down for the team, might be regretting that decision right now. That or they're regretting Nathaniel Hackett, who may actually have less of a clue as to what to do in an NFL game than Matt Rule does. There's too much talent on both sides of the ball to be this bad. We're both the Raiders and Broncos supposed to be playoff teams. They cannot score in the red zone. They can't finish off drives. They can't run. They can't catch. Russ is cooking ramen, and I absolutely love it. I hate the Broncos. Maybe Lewis Hamilton shouldn't have gotten in on the ownership. They did win, though. 16-9, so they're 1-1. Finally, the final stretch. My Super Bowl picks are in the gutter right now. How does Cincinnati pay that much for an offensive line to bolster it, and it comes back worse? Absolute trash. I mean trash. Possibly the worst offensive line I have ever seen. And I've seen some bad ones, but damn. Burrow's got no time, forces throws, and now I think the mental aspect is starting to get to him. The Super Bowl loser curse is no joke, and it continues with Cincinnati. I know it's early, but they got to right the ship. And I thought they had the talent to overcome this curse. To be fair, the Cowboys' defense is good. Constant pressure from Parsons and the ability to stop the run makes them interesting. The future of Gingers, the elevated red dragon, spit and fire was Cooper Rush. No, there is no controversy in Dallas because this is known as Kyle Allen syndrome. Kudos to him for having a great game, but teams will get tape, and it won't last. I love pulling for the underdog, however, but you gotta wonder if that offense is stagnant under Dak. If they don't look back to switch it up, Dallas pulls it out by 3. NBC has to make sure they get their Frogers Fap Fest on Sunday nights. God, I hate watching the Packers on Sunday nights. I saw this game on the schedule and planned to skip it, but I just had it on the other TV while playing 2K. The Bears got absolutely robbed, and this was on purpose. Fields was solid enough, but the clear goal line touchdown being called back for lack of evidence is terrible. Green Bay got away with everything in this game, and I'll never understand the favoritism for this franchise. They're in the top 5 at NFL.com's power rankings. You got stomped by the Vikings and had to cheat to beat Chicago, all within your own division. Guess who's going to learn next week? Yeah, they 1-1 though, so they did win. 2 Monday night games this week. First off, well, if you want to call them games, first up was Buffalo at home against the Titans. They destroyed them 41-7. Buffalo notoriously struggles with the Titans. And actually, I was a little bit worried early on. Then Josh Allen took over shooting peanut butter out of his ass. Pure creamy sludge with awful mechanics that gracefully and hastily reached their receiver's destination. The defense went completely off. Tennessee's bad this year. They brought in Malik Harris later in the game, and between this and the preseason, you see why he fell in the draft. Tannehill got exposed in the playoffs last year. They lost weapons and options on both sides of the ball. That AFC South is a fucking joke. This wasn't much of a game. Buffalo's a juggernaut, but the juice comes next week. Finally, the Vikings, off of their huge Week 1 win, came into Philly And I have never heard that crowd in that stadium like I did Monday night. Man, they didn't stop. Philly blitzed the hell out of Cousins, bringing him back to old Cousins. He now has half the interceptions he did all season last year now. The offense couldn't move the ball for the Vikings, and Jefferson was shut down by Darius Slay as he forced turnovers. This was painful to watch. The Vikings defense had no answer for Jalen Hurts. We tweeted Hurts, don't it, after the game. Kind of like that joke, Hurts, don't it? Do you want one? Yeah. Hard to say, but this is finally the team for Philly. The media picked it, but you got to wonder if the right defense finds them out and exposes them later in the season. At least the NFC East early on seems competitive and fun for the first time in 15 years. I'm not hating. That was an impressive win, 24-7 over the Vikings. Week 2 Power Rankings. I'm running out of videos, so here's the Power Rankings. Bills on top, Chiefs, Dolphins, yes, Miami is strong. Bucks, Eagles, Chargers, Ravens, Giants, Cowboys, Niners. And for the Week 3 ingredients, headline by what we've been waiting for, Bills, Dolphins. We also get Packers at Bucks, Sunday night, Niners at Broncos, Cowboys at Giants, Monday night. Ravens at Patriots could be interesting. Steelers at Browns Thursday night. Bengals at Jets, look out for the Jets. Raiders at Titans, something's got to give. Lions at Vikings, look for Detroit. Eagles at Commies, Eagles again. Chiefs at Colts, Chiefs. Long weekend ahead. Make sure you like and subscribe. Let's keep it going.